Yo, what is going on, people of the internet, and welcome to an episode of Footheads podcast, joined by someone different, joined by Rufio. What's going on, bro? Of
Hey, thanks for having me.
course, man. So we'll start off. Introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, what you're about.
I'm Rufio PDX. Stream a little bit, mostly active on Twitter, and used to be pretty good at the game, but not since the game has gone downhill. So have I. But
I know that
market
struggle.
and yeah, it's too real. But my forte these days is in the market.
Yeah. So basically, just to lay out like a basic timeline for this episode for you guys. It is the first episode in a while that we've done. So just basic. Um, I don't even know, basic like just inventory of how the year's been up until this point. I've kind of gone. I went a little MAA in the beginning of the year, so it's gonna be like the past month or so, and then just team of the year stuff like that. So like, obviously, let's start off. I'm just gonna go right into the biggest promo of the year with team of the year. How do you think they've handled it so far?
It's been up and down. I think there was as always they're gonna hype up their promos. They gotta make their money, and part of that is in marketing. And they do a really good job. The content um, has been all right from a user kind of standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
From a market standpoint, I've liked how they've done things. There's been some glitchy type weird stuff happening as well that we can talk about later. But overall, it's not the best team of the year promo they've ever done, but I don't think it's the worst either.
Yeah, like I definitely like the direction they're going. It's been a lot of just not even just team of the year, just SBCs. Let's start with even in general. A lot of people are complaining on Footbin, which is mostly what I use for like looking at player reviews and stuff. A lot of people are complaining with the oversaturation, if you will, of Serie A players, which as someone who uses primarily an Italian league team, I'm okay with. Um, but there, it's definitely apparent the how do I put this, like the oversaturation, I guess, of just left wings from that league.
Mm.
Like there's so, and now you have that flashback Ronaldo, which I kind of like, to be honest. Like people are complaining, it's a shit card, it's a bad card. It's a Ronaldo for 250,000 coins.
Yeah,
You're not gonna get that somewhere else.
well, yeah, and I mean, but at the same time, 3-star weak foot, and it's a card that I think is worth that is properly priced, and that will eventually be looked at as overpriced
Oh yeah,
based on the other content.
people are already saying based on the stats, he has a stats of an 83, and the face value of Ronaldo is what brings it up. But I mean,
Right.
it
But that's the content that the community has been asking
yeah,
for.
yeah.
So on one hand, we don't. If they put out things that everybody wants to do and that's affordable for everybody, that wouldn't be good business by them, and
No.
it wouldn't be great because then we would all be complaining about seeing the same exact players
Yeah.
against everyone using the same
Yeah,
exact team.
everybody would have a flashback Ronaldo that was at Man U linking with team of the year Bruno Fernandez because there was a player pick team of the year pack, and like they have to, you guys, what people need to realize is, I don't want to turn this into a slander fest because Lord knows I can. It's EA. Like they, yes, they've gotten better. I will put my hands up and say they've gotten better, but it's still EA, man. Like they're still the same money hungry, like
Well, we have
ups.
to remember that they're a for-profit and they're publicly owned.
Exactly.
Their responsibility is to the shareholders, not to
Yeah.
the user base. Now, they have the perfect model. They have created the perfect business model in which they don't need to keep their customer base, their user base happy in order to make money. In fact, their customer base and user base being more angry and more vindictive is driving their microtransaction revenue up.
Yeah.
Um, we complain about the community as a whole being so toxic and EA being so toxic. And what's the easiest way to fix that and to make yourself feel good is throw money at the game and get those things that you want. And for me, that's for me, from a trading and an investing kind of standpoint, from a market manipulation type of standpoint, I'm fine with that because promo packs and lightning rounds and stuff, that just means more easier coins to be made.
Yeah.
And but from a business standpoint, you have all of Reddit and Twitter and Instagram and all the socials saying how bad this game is, and yet their lightning rounds sell out in 2 minutes. So
Yeah, like I've been watching. So speaking of that, I've been watching um across all different channels. I'm watching Castro, Nick, Simon, Mini Minter, Zerka, just to name a couple, and most of them. Nick is on. I mean, Nick does the crafted packs. He doesn't really do the Devil's Playground as he calls it. He doesn't really do the pack store as much. But like Castro, you could see that the heavy favoritism almost of PlayStation over Xbox as far as how many packs, and that's just the user base. Like there's so many more PlayStation players these days.
right,
And it used to be Xbox, it was, but there was that switch a couple seasons ago, or a couple years ago, I apologize. And it's now the most of the player base is on PlayStation. Like that's why it's like the Call of Duty thing. Like Call of Duty used to be on Xbox, now it's on PlayStation. That's why all the pros and stuff, that's why they're all on PlayStation, because that's just where the trend went. And FIFA's the same thing, basically.
where the money went.
Yeah. So yesterday, I believe it was for the 100Ks or the 125Ks. There were, I don't know, 80 on Xbox, whereas there was 150,000 on PlayStation. And those are selling out. Their PlayStation packs are selling out like 3 to 5 minutes faster, which doesn't seem like much, but when you consider how expensive packs are and all of that, like they're flying.
Hmm.
Like they're definitely, I think they're definitely sitting a little bit longer than they would have last year. Last year, I remember a minute, maybe two, if you're lucky. Like if you're just like a casual, like you or me, you'd be sat there. If, let's say you had like 10,000 FIFA points, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna open some 100Ks. You get three, you're like, wow, I was lucky.
And that's like quick selling and sending all the,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
That's not like sitting there looking at every player and like listing it. You're just like, go.
yeah.
But I mean, I yeah, it's just it's interesting. Like I definitely feel like um the drop. I don't know. Like I like the promo. I don't like the whole thing. The fact that Lewandowski didn't get a 99 is, I don't know if that's just because the fact that they didn't have a Ballon d'Or this year with everything that happened. Obviously,
Oh, that's probably. I think it's EA being
it's
salty
he's
about
not.
Bayern
Yep.
signing with Konami.
Not being one of their poster boys. It's not like I remember if I can find it, I'll try to throw it up on screen now, but I don't know. I think I saw it on Twitter. There was a percentage breakdown basically of all the strikers. Obviously, Lewandowski got top with like half the votes. Ronaldo was a little behind him with like 20 some odd percent. And then in fifth place was Mbappe, with Messi is number 3 or number 4. But yet who got on the team? Like it's in. I mean, in to be fair to EA, like they covered their ass with this. I'm pretty sure in the fine print it literally says we hold the right to change anything and we have
Right.
final say. So that's why it's not truly a fan vote. Like this, call me salty. This is gonna be me being a salty Inter fan. Ronaldo has not deserved the team of the year the past 2 seasons. Say what you will, he's done nothing. Last year, I'm pretty sure it was last season, he tied, or no, he lost to a 38-year-old for most goals scored in the league. Guagliarella took that title last year. This year, I'm pretty sure he's tied or losing to Immobile. So, I don't know. To me personally, I I, I remember I'll put it now on screen. My team of the year vote was, but going offhand, it was Lewandowski, Muller, Immobile, Kimmich, De Bruyne. I think I threw in there. Um, who would I have at center backs? I had Ramos because I knew that was kind of fairly obvious. I didn't have Van Dijk. I think I had Thiago Silva.
You have Davies.
I had Davies, yeah. Davies I had, and then I had Neuer. So like, you got the obvious ones, but like some players like Messi was the same for me. Like I knew he was gonna win 12th man. Like I fell victim to it too. I picked Messi for that 12th man vote just because I thought, okay, I'm gonna need this card for friendlies anyway. Like same thing with last year. Last year, the only difference is they gave us a team of the a team of the year version of that card, and this year we had to do there was the objective for it, which to be fair, I got for doing squad battles for grinding packs for a pack opening anyway. So like, it was pretty easy. I think I need to play two more rivals games, and I have the team of the year Messi, which like EA do things this year. It's weird. They'll do stuff that like kind of piss me off, like the way they handle certain things. But then they'll do other things like, hey, here's a free Messi that you're gonna use in friendlies the rest of the year. I'm like, cool, thanks. Like I definitely give EA a lot of crap, but at the same time, I have to give them a lot of credit this year. They've impressed me a lot this year. I will be completely honest. They've impressed me a lot.
With in regards to the market and how they've just how you say you got to give them credit that they've impressed you with content with in regards to the market and how some of the market manipulation has been done on the EA end.
Hmm.
It has been a little dicey at times. For example, just right now, you you know that defenders wise, you know who they are going to be team of the year a
Yeah.
week before they come out in packs. So you have this rush to invest in these cards that'll be out of packs and high demand for weekend league, and their prices actually went down. And part of that was the oversaturation and the overinvestment, and people expecting the prices to go up. They didn't
Hmm.
go up, so they were just panic selling. And part of it was, and I was watching this, seeing the Sergio Ramoses, the Davies, the Van Dykes, seeing these cards just appearing on the market fresh,
Hmm.
every hour. And there's no way that that many cards, and I'm on PlayStation, so there's a lot more users,
Hmm.
but from tracking all these other players, especially the rare golds, throughout all these other types of out of packs, and knowing they're going to be out of packs, um, promos this year, to see these prices dip the way they're dipping, you know, it makes me really aware that in the end, it's a video game, it's a virtual market, and they can do with it what they want. Um,
Yeah, they could definitely, and I'm not saying they do this, but there's definitely been hints of it in the past that they kind of pump cards on the market depending on like if a certain player's skyrocketing in price because he's not available in packs or whatever, they'll pump a few into the market to kind of drop the value, and then
right,
that it just it's it's a very like slow it's very easy to trigger the market in a certain way. Like a couple people panic sell and that just starts a snowball effect and it goes down from there. Like for example, I a couple weeks ago before I got back into streaming FIFA and playing FIFA, I was opening some packs and I got lucky enough to pack a Ronaldo in a 7.5k. Tradable, obviously. Um Obviously I've been using him in my team, my weekend league team. But the interesting part is obviously with him being a team of the year, his price has skyrocketed. So he was going for about 850, I think, on Xbox at the time of when I packed him. Um Up until yesterday at content drop. So at 5 p.m. UK yesterday, he was borderline a million coins. He was pushing a million. The second that flashback Ronaldo popped up, he dropped down to 950. And right now, last I checked, he's sitting at about 910 on Xbox because people are people realize that it's a cheap card. People are going to do him, so they're trying to jump ship and save as much coins as possible. So I think that whole the Ronaldo investment thing like is kind of out of the water. But same thing with Conte. Conte was about 150k before Team of the Year, with him not being in Team of the Year and his packs readily or his card readily available in packs. He's about 100k, so he dropped about 50k in a week. So it's interesting to see. Even Messi, for that matter. Messi's price was pushing 200K up until he was announced as 12th man. And then people started picking him up, realizing he's going to be out of packs, and his price went back up. I haven't checked today what his price is at. I don't know how he's been on PlayStation. I just know anything that I say is Xbox related price wise, and then
Right.
PlayStation for Rufio. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I have tried to get like into. I started. That's how I started the year. Actually, was with. I was trying to work the market a lot more. I know Rufio. I'll have him describe it a little bit more. And I'll have it linked down in the description. They have a Discord, and
Mhm.
it's a Patreon as well, if I'm correct in saying, for the
Yeah.
trading group. Okay, you
Mhm.
you can talk about that if you want.
It's it's a really simple Patreon. It's a $5 a month thing. Uh, it's everything. It's just your normal Thursday flips. The whole goal of the Patreon that I'm running is to teach you how to do it by yourself, so you're not constantly just like being strung along month to month, just paying this like recurring fee, being fed. Like I'll feed you information, and if that's what you want, but the whole purpose is to teach you to spot market trends and teach you about market equilibrium trading and what a Bollinger Band is and how it applies to the FIFA market and some of the really basic like the basic economic principles of a virtual market in this context. Like it's not like the stuff you can take and be like, oh, I'm going to go trade crypto
Can,
now.
please, for the love of God, and I'm only saying this because of everything that's going on in the world, please do not try to apply this to Wall Street. For the love of God, we are not responsible for that. Don't do it.
Yeah, yeah, don't be jumping on GameStop or Doge.
Might have jumped
So
on Doge, but that's besides the point. It was more of a joke than
so
anything.
so the the Patreon is really it's really just a teaching platform, and it's it's a Patreon because it's premium in the sense that you get my undivided attention, and also I'm not trying to make a quick buck here. This isn't like my get rich quick scheme. It's just compensating me for the time that I'm putting into it.
Fair, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I tried starting it this year, and then I was doing okay. Like it was just the very basic of pick a player, snipe him for cheap, relist him. Like I was making decent coins, and then I took about 2.5 to 3 months off FIFA, and I was like, well, this is gonna be difficult. But yeah. So I know you said before we started recording you haven't touched champs in about a month. You said, right?
Hmm.
Have you?
This is the fourth weekend in a row I'm not playing champs.
Okay. And when's the last time you've like what's I know last night you played a game, right? Or you did
I
some
played one game last night. Yeah,
and how did that go?
it was.
If I remember, I'll throw the picture he posted up on screen.
Yeah, it was just and it was like it just reminded me why I didn't like the game. It was one of the games that it felt like I was in control of, and I didn't save the highlights. It was just I ended up drawing 2-2, um, and I had more shots on goal, much more possession. It was
Yeah.
just one of the games I felt like I was controlling the entire time, and a bounce or two goes against me, and it's like, oh, okay, that's why I don't play the game anymore. It's not
Yeah.
worth getting all mad about it. I'd rather just control what I control, like especially market wise.
Uh-huh.
Just make the coins.
See, I've never been, and I think that's like other people that I talk to in our little community of like smaller streamers, smaller content creators, whatever. A lot of
Mm,
people mention like when I'm streaming champs on Saturdays or Fridays, whatever, I I don't do much menu stuff. Especially, I mean, now I've been saving packs for this is going up next Saturday on the what is that going to be? On the 6th of February. So the week after, I'm planning on posting a pack opening that I'm doing tonight on stream. So I've just been saving packs for that. But like other than that, I'm
right.
not really a menu streamer. I don't know how to create content basically to like I could do it off stream, like I'll just find stuff to do, but like to do it in like an enjoyable and like entertaining, it's new to me. Like I'm still trying to figure out how to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but
I think that's just based because that's also you also get you know, you have your loyal regular viewers,
yeah,
and then you have other people that are just looking through FIFA streams and they see, oh, this person's, you know, they want to, it's because they want to see the process of, you know, they're they're vicariously opening those packs
yeah,
through you with
yeah,
their build, and you know, so it's like I don't want to do this myself. I watch them do it, and that's why the big pack opening people, that's why the Castros and the Batesons and all of that kind of the streamers that throw so much money into the game and are constantly opening these packs, because that's what people are rooting for and they want to see. As much as they will say it's terrible that so much money is being thrown into the game and that's how you get a good team, like that's what they want to see, that's the
yeah.
content
I
they see.
know. Yesterday I think or 2 days ago, Bateson tweeted a picture, and like I don't watch Bateson too much myself, mostly because he doesn't stream crazy late hours. He just does like his 5 6 hour block of streaming, and then that's it. And he starts 8 o'clock UK time, which is what 12 1 something like that. He starts very early. I'm sorry, he starts 3 a.m. my time.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm East Coast NA. So he he tweeted a picture and it was every every team of the year that's been released, he had on his team. He was starting Ronaldo, Mbappe, and I think Van Dijk. Everybody else was a prime icon. And people in the comments were ripping apart like, how do you have fun with this? How do you like you know, how could you throw so much money in the game? And then one person summed it up perfectly. It's his job.
Hmm.
People like Bateson, people like Castro, people like Nick, Zwayback, Nepo, all of those big guys.
Well,
It's
Nick's different
yeah,
in
Nick,
that.
yeah, but it's their job to spend that money and to produce that kind of content for their viewers. So like
Right.
me, it's not economically smart at all to go and spend $5,000 on a Team of the Year pack opening.
Right. If you were to generate some kind of hype in marketing saying I'm about to take, you know, you like go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok with a wad of cash, it's 5 grand. You're like, I'm about to put this into team of the year, you know, and you do that for 2 weeks saying, this is the date where I'm going to do it. Come watch this stream. And then you fire up the stream. That's your stream title. That's, you know, and you get those people and you're opening up packs like that constantly, just trying to get like, you have to have the capital to do that multiple times to offer that content for people to start not just following but subscribing and being regular viewers.
Yeah,
They do it so regularly, but they also have been building that up. It's not like they just one day said, I'm just going to put all this money in and that's how I'm going to get
yeah,
all these
exactly, exactly.
subscribers.
Yeah,
Right? They're still good content creators. They know how to
they
plan
are.
out content. They know how to
They are.
collaborate. They know how to schedule their, right. They know what they're doing. It's not like I'm just going to fire up a stream today. And like, even when you see the posts on Twitter, like feel like streaming, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, I just feel like streaming, going to press start, like go live. There's a plan. It's not
Yeah,
like, even if they say, oh, there's no plan, we're just going to chill, we're going to whatever. there's
there's
there's a
always
plan.
a plan. Yeah, I mean, more as far as like more FIFA related like the gameplay. I'll be honest. When the year started, I sucked at defend. Like I was so bad at defending. Like all of last year, for those of you who watched my streams or any of my videos, my go-to formation was always a 4-2-3-1. Always. Um, I thought it was the most. I don't want to say balanced because it was just a very OP formation. Um, but I personally enjoyed that formation. This year, starting it, I tried to run it, didn't work too well. Um, I've actually been using a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, and I've really enjoyed being able to. Like I've kind of developed into not a. I don't play tiki taka really, but I'm very slow and methodical in the way I build up an attack, and I started developing that like the second half of last year. The last like 2 months that I played champs, I really kind of like tried to do that as much as possible, and that's how I kind of have been going at FIFA again since I came back last month. Like to the point where my chat yells at me to shoot the ball more. Like, and I notice like Castro's chat, he does. I mean, Castro does it for more like entertainment value. Like he'll start dancing in the box with Ronaldo. I do it just because I don't see an opening personally. Like that's just the way. Like it's definitely a downside of mine because I feel like I could win games a lot more comfortably if I just took shots. Like I need to remember the cards I'm using are capable of hitting some of these shots that I'm just not taking. Like Gold Ronaldo can hit that shot. A Freeze Martinez at striker, which by the way is one of the greatest cards I've ever used in my life, and I'm not just saying that because of this. I'm saying that because it's one of the greatest cards I've ever used on FIFA. Like he can hit these amazing shots, and I just don't do it enough. But that's just like I don't know. Like that's how I've always that's how I've what I've developed into basically is a very slow, patient, methodical player. And I enjoy it to an extent. Like I like breaking people down. Like I like LB dribbling around my opponent and just waiting for them to get impatient and pull their defender, and then that's it. I cut through them very easily.
Yeah, I'm the same in that sense, and in gameplay wise, and you know, 5 6 years ago, 5 6 iterations of FIFA ago,
Mhm.
um, I was very fast paced, very wing dependent because that's kind of like what the game was,
Yeah, same.
back to your Gervinho, Ibarbo type of things.
Oh
Um,
God, those were the
but it
fun
was
days.
also the point where like so a few it was I think FIFA 15. So in FIFA 15 and 16, I didn't have a non USA team, and I don't mean MLS, I mean USA, like American players
Hmm.
team until FIFA 17, and that was when I made my first La Liga team. Um but FIFA 15 and 16 was when FIFA 15 was when I was a top 100 in the like region. I don't know
Okay.
what the region was back then,
Hmm.
but I was top 100 in region. But I was only using American players. Like I had a 60 rated bronze Joshua Gatt as my right mid. Like I was using, it was that kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was using Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan, and I had Tim Howard in goal, and
Staying true to our America roots, I like it.
it it was it was more fun, and
Yeah,
especially because back then I felt like the skill gap was such that it was skill dependent, not card dependent.
that's the thing. Back then, there was an actual skill. Like this year, for example, especially, I almost want to give EA a pass and say, like, I get it because not only do you have your skill based matchmaking, which we all know doesn't work, because I've played a game where I ranked into what did I think I got into like Div 3. Maybe in all of last year I kind of just stayed in the Div 5 region mostly because I didn't really try to improve. I kind of just like coasted the whole year.
Hmm.
And then this year when it was early game, I think I got placed in 3. Yeah, cuz I was 4 and 1, so I got placed into Div 3. Um and it was interesting because obviously I was getting smacked because I had a crap team. I didn't belong in that division. Like my skill wasn't that of the opponents I was playing. But even now, when I've kind of like settled in like that weird like low 3, high 4 area, I play a lot of people where one second I'll play someone with like a high 1300s skill rating, and the next I play somebody with 2200, and that has a lot to do with next gen too. Like I'm on next gen Xbox, so my opponent pool basically went from this to this because
Yeah,
now there's just less people. Not only are there less people playing on Xbox, there's less people playing Xbox next gen.
yeah.
So like that's why that whole like matchmaking, like the skill based matchmaking, just doesn't work this year, especially for like I've had a lot of people tell me that I should drop back to like old gen for champs and stuff. I enjoy the fluidity of next gen, even though I get smoked some games. I really enjoy the fluidness and the crisp when the game allows me. Obviously, like there's still that laggy factor to it, but I enjoy next gen gameplay. I think it feels so much better than I
So, do you use the EA connection helper tool?
no, I don't.
Oh,
I know you had that issue last year. I remember you were connecting to what your West Coast, you were connecting to like my servers, right?
yeah, the DC area.
Yeah.
So the connection, the EA connection helper tool,
Hmm.
and I can send you the link for this so that
Okay.
your viewers can also like see it and use it.
Okay.
Gives you your match history, and now there's a few different components. There's your ping, which everyone knows about, what ping is.
Hmm.
There's your packet loss, which just you can just kind of figure what packet loss is, and there's jitter. Now, jitter technically is the standard deviation
Hmm.
of your ping, but it's not quite. Like the simplest way to like explain it is your standard deviation. But if you're thinking about how inputs are registered in a game like FIFA, where you're moving the left stick just a little bit, just to get that extra touch or just like to go a little bit different angle or whatever it happens to be.
Hmm.
If for a millisecond or 2 milliseconds or 3 milliseconds, it skips that piece of information being sent, that's when you start getting that kind of gameplay that's unresponsive, or like you hit an X pass and your guys like the pass goes here and your guys go like they
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
start skating and stuff like that. That's a product mainly of either packet loss or jitter. It's not a ping.
Okay.
So you can still have really unresponsive gameplay if you have a 12 ping, but if you have a 0.05% packet loss and a 3.2 millisecond jitter, it doesn't matter that you have a 14 ping because of a fifth um of your inputs aren't being recorded.
Hmm.
And so I mean that messes with anything from like skill moves, like you try and heal to heal, or you try and ball roll, or you try and do something like simple, and all it's like, why didn't he do it?
Yeah.
It's not your ping, it's the jitter or it's the packet loss. What have found by going through my match history,
Hmm.
first of all, I'm screwed because all of my ISPs available to me in my area have a very large amount of jitter and to some extent packet loss.
Hmm.
I'm in a major metropolitan area, but it still occurs. I have a server farm, an AWS leased, an EA um, server 7 miles from me.
Okay.
7 miles. My ping is fine, but when it comes to jitter and packet loss, it's like there's something compensating. Like you have too good, so we have to make sure that and
Yeah,
that's just
there's also that I think it was late last year that came out that
artificial
yeah,
latency compensation.
yep, yep. The where basically like Rufio just said, your connection's perfect, your opponent's isn't. We're gonna balance it out a little bit, and that's when it gets bad because those sliders once those sliders are moved, it just it's downhill. There's
Right.
no like there's nothing to say. Like of course there's always the obvious of the handicapping and people saying like I'll say this much, and it's mostly because I can't defend him for shit. Gold Timo Werner cuts through me like he's prime moments Pele.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I just cannot stop him.
Yeah.
But then I'll have so 2 weeks ago for reference, I think it was my first or second weeks playing champ. I think this is my third weekend playing champs. It was my first weekend back on champs this year. I haven't played champs up until this point. Friday I went 5-0. Saturday I think I went 1-5. I just was getting screwed over, and I was getting so unlucky the entire night. I was like, all right, whatever. Sunday comes along, I'm doing pretty good, and then I just hit that. You just hit that brick wall where it's
Mm.
just loss, 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 screwed over, post, post, bullshit, bullshit. Like I just to the point where I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. Got off stream. I kind of like took a break for a little bit, relaxed, came back, played off stream. My next 5 games, the average of icons in each team was about 4 to 6. I smacked all of them rage quit. But then I have a team that's a full gold team, and I struggle to do anything. So like it's just like it's a mental thing, definitely. I don't I see
Part of
icon like I see icon teams, and I'm just like I'm not losing this game. I don't know if it's just I don't know. Like it could be that like handicapping thing. It could be a combination of that and the fact that I see a gold team. I'm just like, oh, well, this is gonna be easy, or like I already have that mental mindset of I'm probably gonna lose this game, and then I end up losing the game. Whereas like teams that have Ronaldo's, Messi's, Neymar's, Mbappe's, Suarez, icon, 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 icon. I look at that, I'm just like I'm not losing this game. Like for mental pride, I am not losing this game.
Mhm.
And those are usually the games that I make people rage quit. Like it's very interesting. Just the that and like the big thing that gets me annoyed more than anything on FIFA these days is inconsistencies, man. Like I'll have the that 92 rated Ronaldo will one game he'll feel like perfect. He'll be turning and doing just perfection. And then the
Mhm.
next game he feels like an oil tanker with a missing back tire. I'm just like or like I just upgraded my keeper to Reddit Inform Hope, and I can tell you right now, his gold card's better. That's if you're gonna take anything out of this episode, it's use the EA connection tool that I'm linking down below, and don't use his Inform. Use Hope's gold card. But like, just certain inconsistencies in certain players, and obviously there's a lot of other factors like your opponent and how they play, and all that shit. But like, there's still you could still feel when a player feels different from game to game. Like especially when you're home both games and you're doing the same thing. It's not like you're one game I'm having Conte sit back and the next I'm having him sprint forward and trying to score screamers from outside the box. Like or when, if you and me were to play a game and we have the same Conte in the same position on the same chem style and he's just nonstop moving around for 90 minutes, just not breaking a sweat, and mine can barely keep up. Like it's
Mhm.
that kind of stuff that gets to me. And obviously the park the bus meta and all that just doesn't help. But that's FIFA. Like I've come to that realization that that's what we have to deal with to play the game that
Yeah. Like
we
to go
love to play.
in general, it's like, all right, yes, skill still plays a factor. Yes,
Yeah.
keeping your head and the mentality of it still plays a factor. But we can't ignore that they have implemented certain mechanics within the system that level the playing field in ways that are outside of the user's control.
Yes.
Um, and when we talk about inconsistency from game to game of gameplay and leveling the playing field, it's not necessarily that those two are correlated, but both of those things exist,
Hmm.
and both of those things can work in your favor or not in your favor, or it can be a game where it feels really good, but the other person is either feels like they are way better, or mm, their gold, whatever, Iago Aspas is outrunning your team of the year, um, uh, Sergio Ramos, and that, like, that kind of thing. Um, it there are the biggest thing that I've heard on other FIFA related podcasts and conversations from players that are much better than you and I are, it's for them, um, they because they have a very high level of skill and they're very consistent in their high level of skill, and for them to be talking about how inconsistent the gameplay is from game to game, and how they can feel that, you know, whatever
Momentum
you want to
shift.
call it, whether it's
Yeah.
the scripting or the momentum or whatever, or the handicapping, whatever you, how they feel it affecting them from game to game, and how it's different from game to game. They're pros because they still hammer out 28, 29, 30 wins on a weekend, even though they're coming up against all that kind of stuff. That's why they're pros. But it's still happening and it shouldn't.
Yeah. Kind of like Anders, who is he still undefeated?
I don't know.
But either way, the kid's 12 or 13, and he was like 300 and something and in champs. And that's not, he's just better. It has nothing to do with he has better connection or he's playing wired versus wireless or like. I was watching a A9 skill stream a couple weeks ago after I ended. I was playing some champs games offline, and I just had him up on my other monitor, and he was saying how the entire night he was struggling with ping and packet loss and just laggy gameplay. He unplugged his Xbox and said, "I have had so much fun playing Xbox tonight." He's like, "It's been so much better, like just connection wise." So like that just like it has not it really doesn't matter. Like it's the game. It's all like it. There's so many more factors than just your connection. And I think that proves it better than most. The fact that he was getting more responsive gameplay playing wireless than he was wired. So like, yeah, like obviously I rather play wired than anything, but like it just there's so many more factors than whether you're plugged into your router or you're playing wireless. There's so much more going on.
Yeah, I but the really good players, they're really good players. You know,
That too.
the
He's also
pros
he
are
plays
pros.
for complexity, so he's a pro FIFA player. So there's also that little factor that he didn't throw
And
in.
we can't discount also, like, they're also, it's not like we see them the only time they're playing. Their job is to be good, and
Yeah,
so
exactly.
practice, that's their job. um but to going back to the original point, there are still, for the more, for the majority of the user base, there are things implemented that do drive microtransaction sales, and that
Yeah,
happens through gameplay.
yeah,
We have to
like
remember that microtransaction sales were not how games used to make their money and be successful. It was through the title purchase
yeah,
that games were successful and made their revenue. The microtransaction sales kind of first appeared in Ultimate Team and COD and stuff, and all these games of just
yeah,
like, here's something extra, and to pay for the development of this stuff that was extra, you can buy this. Whether it was, and it started first as like DLC type of content,
hmm
and then it became daily or weekly or whatever happens to be the smaller stuff.
yeah. I think like besides FIFA, like because obviously your packs or whatever. I think the company that nailed that formula perfectly was Fortnite.
Right, but
They
also
they
Fortnite, you have to, it's right there, in the store. Cosmetic thing. These things do not
affect yeah.
affect your game. Your skill, your game. Whereas,
FIFA definitely
even in
does.
COD now, if you pay to have a certain blueprint of a gun, it will perform better than another one.
Yeah.
Or in Madden or FIFA or NHL or any of these sports games where you're paying to have different, the difference is that in Fortnite, you knew what you were getting. It was a skin, it was a pickaxe, it was whatever it happens to be,
hmm
but it doesn't affect anything. In COD, you know what you're getting and it does affect something. In FIFA, you don't know what you're getting and you don't know how it's affecting,
Yeah.
but you're still paying for it.
Yeah.
um yeah, and that really started it the whole, and that's when development went downhill, when they after they developed Frostbite. After they developed the Frostbite engine, and they implemented it for sports games, instead of, it was supposed the Frostbite engine was supposed to be for what was it, Anthem,
Okay.
whatever that the shooter was that EA was developing. Um, uh,
Valorant?
no, I think it was called Anthem
Oh,
or
you're
something.
talking further back. Yeah. Okay. I think.
And so like
Yeah.
that's the original for like the Frostbite engine was developed for that was the physics and inertia engine initially developed for like a shooter.
Hmm.
And they found that because of just whatever, it was able to be manipulated into sports games. So they started with Madden at first. So Madden had the first run at it, and then they introduced it into FIFA. During that time, the development of the Frostbite engine itself went pretty much to a standstill, where they were just fixing bugs, not developing it further,
Hmm.
because at that time was also the period where we started these free, remember light versions of apps?
Yes.
Like you get this something light, and
Yeah.
it's because it has like apps, it has ads in it, and for 99 cents you could get the premium and
Hmm.
you wouldn't get those apps, you wouldn't get the ads anymore.
Yeah.
And that developed into a way of making money where, okay, now here's a free game, you can play this free game, you're going to suck at it unless you pay this amount of money to get these resources or these whatever. And then it spilled over into console gaming, and I remember that shift. And it started happening. The first time I like really remembered that shift was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, where all of a sudden you had these guns where it was like, oh my goodness, that speakeasy like is it just shreds, but I can't get it unless I get either really lucky or I put a bunch of money into the game.
Hmm.
and and so that was when it first started, like those loot boxes, and that's when it first hit me like, oh no, this is the future of gaming. It's gonna be, they come out with just a pretty much an incomplete product that just gets patched over and over and over and over and over again.
Instead of
As
developed and
it's basically, they release the beta and then they just patch things as they come up, because that's the technology now, they can do that.
yeah,
Before it was, you get a disc,
and that was
there it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Like that's your game. If you find an Easter egg, it's there till the next. If you find a bug with it, it's there for the. So they couldn't allow those things to happen, and so they were very rare, or they
Yeah.
were purposefully. Now, if they're there, it's like, oh, we're gonna change it, patched. That's coming out in the next day. So every game you have now, especially multiplayer games, are just being patched, and everything's being driven not by the initial title sale, but all the microtransactions that go into playing that game and using that game.
Yeah. Like
So
like I remember, um, like it happens with everyone. Like even myself, I'll be playing a game of champs, and I love my team. I think I can play really well with my team, but then I come up against someone who has mid Cruyff and an informed Neymar. I'm just like, damn, like I want like I bet I could pack those if I open like I want to open packs now because I want to get coins to buy those players and try them out. And it's never the same. Like like everything like you said is driven by everything in gaming now is driven by microtransactions. Even more so in like it's even more so in FIFA, obviously. But like there's always that you're always gonna have that team that you come up against, and you're just like, damn, like I want those players. Like, and how do I get those coins? Well, it's the easy way. Open packs. Hopefully, I pack someone. I sell that. But like, and it's just a never-ending cycle because there's always gonna be a better card. There's always gonna be another player you want to try or that you can't
and that's
afford.
the
And
part of the content release and the content, where people where we're saying, oh, look at all this great content we're getting. Well, that's what's driving it. If there are a lot of different, instead of just everyone having Hullet and your team of the year Mbappe and everyone having that, now they're making it so that there are multiple cards that are really really good, but there is a premium to pay for them,
mhm.
so that there's always, no matter what, you have the tier 1 team, there's always another player that you're like, oh, I really want him. So even if you have spent 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, $10,000, there's always another one to spend money on to get. And that's really that's the it's the they have the perfect model, they have the perfect
Yeah,
revenue model.
yeah, they really do. Like as much crap as like I said, as much crap as I give EA, they're geniuses, man. They know what they're doing. They know how to make money. Like all the jokes about them, counting their money and ordering their Teslas and their Lamborghinis and their yachts and their Ferraris. They know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And I've said this since last year as well, because last year is when it really took off. Whoever is in charge, there's a lot of people at EA that need to be fired. I'll say that first. But whoever is in charge of their content department and their card design needs a raise more than anyone in this company. Because the card designs over the past 12 to 18 months has been the nicest I have ever seen. Like, obviously, as we get more and more iterations of the game, FIFA 20, 21, 22, 23, so on, content's going to have to the levels are going to have to get upped, basically.
Mhm.
You have to always improve on your previous self to, otherwise it just, what's the point? Like, people already say, like, well, what's the point of, grinding and putting all this effort into FIFA when in September you're getting a new one, you have to start over again. That's kind of what I like about FIFA is that you have to start again and you have to go again and all brand new, all that. But like, if they didn't change things, like if they didn't, like, we didn't have seasons last year, right? Like the season rewards. No, we did, but
The- You mean season like objectives
yeah, the
for season?
objective, yeah, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so we had those, but like they started adding, instead of just the one player, now you get two for people who don't make it all the way to the end. And like the cards are good too. It's not like they're like kind of crappy cards. Like, I know a lot of people complain that, well, by the time, we'll use this season for example, a lot of people complain that, well, by the time I get to level 30 and I get that Pulisic, I'll have three cards that are 10 times better than him. Well,
Hmm.
now you have that mid-season choice of a player. Like, I just got the what is it, Duncan player pick, whatever, and I put him in my team. A lot of people are telling me he's as good, if not better, than N'Golo Kante's gold card. And I don't really focus too heavily on like grinding XP and all that to get that. So I probably got him a lot later than I could have if I grinded the game properly. He already made it into my champs team. Like, he plays alongside Conte and Milinkovic Savic's headliners card in my midfield. So like, I like, it's good content. And then you have like the Summer Heat promo, I think was one of the best promos we have ever seen come out of this company. Like, it wasn't a money grabbing. It's not team of the year. It's not team of the season. It wasn't headline. It's nothing like that. It's like, hey, you want this card? Go play the game. You want this card? Like, oh, here's a free 80 rated left back Ferdinand Mendy card, which is already OP as it is. Oh, by the way, you can get a 93 just by playing the game. You want this card?
I mean,
Play the game.
it wasn't a money grab, but at the same time, it was because it was so it wasn't directly a money grab move
Sure.
because you had now your leading revenue title for EA Sports with a user base that was now had a 12-month engagement period rather than a 8-9 month engagement period
Mm-hmm.
leading into this next, right? Then you can start to, when you're looking at futures and future budgets and everything that goes into that, especially in a publicly traded company. Now you're looking at quarterly models that have no dip or have minimal or a stagnant revenue stream rather than a, a red revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
So that you are now, so it just by having so many users still engaged over the summer when usually after team of the season,
They dip
you
off, yeah.
have a few weeks of like champs and stuff, but other than that, it's like what are we playing for?
And even this year, where champs ended in August and the new game didn't come out until mid October, opposed to early September.
Right. And so now when you're looking at third quarter, fourth quarter projections, when a new iteration of FIFA comes out, you are now you're keeping your price per share and your futures price per share
Mm-hmm.
higher. You're never gonna get shorted. You're
Mm-hmm.
you're not looking at, if anything, you're looking at a price per share that drops because we're looking at a split rather than a short. And so it was one of those moves that was like, oh, we can make users happy because of this promo. We don't have to worry about them being oversaturated because the new iteration of the game's coming out in a few months anyway,
Mhm.
so they're going to be gone, and it's going to keep them engaged, keep our engagement numbers up, so that it was like a win-win for like everybody.
Yeah.
Um, so we you always have to you have to remember that EA is a publicly traded company. Their responsibility is to the shareholders, so every decision that they make has to benefit the
Them.
bottom line in some way. And
Yeah.
if it happens to make us as regular users happy as well, great for us. If it doesn't matter, because we are still pumping money into it as a community.
Yep. I mean, like I said, I don't want to just turn this into an hour of uh shit talking EA because Lord knows I want to. Well, I want to. I'm not going to. That's the difference. And I easily could, but I just I like the direction they're headed, man. I like the flashbacks. I like the objective idea, whereas like, okay, you don't have the coins or the cards to get this special card. Play the game a little bit. Like, it's obviously the big boys are still like, the SBCs, the icons and stuff like that, and they are purposely oversaturating the SBC field, so you forces you to open packs. Like we said, they're geniuses. They know what they're doing. They know how to make money. But at the same time, for the people, the casuals who just want to grind the game, I'm not saying I am one. I'm literally planning on doing a pack opening for YouTube tonight where I might have to spend money, but that's besides the point. For people who don't want to spend money, people who don't have that financial backing to open the amount of packs they want to, you can just grind the game and get these rewards. Like, you grind the game for these objective cards and play rivals and you get packs for that and stuff like that. Like, I have about close to 90 packs saved up literally just from playing the game. I'm doing SBCs for the past month, rivals rewards, champs rewards, um, you know, a couple squad battle packs from having to do the icon swaps, stuff like that. Like, my team this time last year, my team when I actually played the game like just nonstop, like I didn't open too many packs at this point last year. Um, but what my team was last year was absurd. I had prime icons from uh from swaps. You had special cards, red picks, like all these cards, all just from playing the game. Like even at the end of the year, for the last 2 months of the game last year, I didn't spend any money in the game because I was like, the game's dead. What's the point? I had put together the greatest team I think I've ever had on any FIFA ever, just from playing the game. Like I had a couple SBC players that I got from packs from champs and rivals, so just playing the game. They weren't like bought packs. I had red picks. I had team of the seasons that I had gotten through rewards and just like all this. I looked at it. I was like, holy shit! Like this team is absurd.
Hmm.
Like if I was actually good, like really good at the game, I could probably have 30-0 with that team. And it's not like I was using like all the meta cards. Like I had some meta, obviously, everyone does, but like it's insane to see what you can do. That's when I think when it first clicked, I'm just like, maybe you can get like really good stuff just from playing the game. And then this year, I think they're actually trying to like amplify that by
Mhm.
like the objectives and like very, very sweaty friendly games. Jesus Christ, those games are worse than like I don't know, like I don't know if you continue to play um if you still play stuff like that's not champs, like the friendlies and all that, the objectives, but they're bad. They are bad. Like I think they're worse than champs, to be honest.
Yeah, I always thought that Rivals was worse than Champs too.
Yeah, now friendlies is up there as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the past month, especially, a lot of it has been, or the last week or so, has definitely been very heavy, uh, team of the year driven. Obviously, it'll be interesting when we record next month's to see where we're at by because these are team of the year's over tomorrow at the time of recording this, over the 31st, and then come Monday the 1st. it's just the memory, right? I'm pretty sure it ends tomorrow. So like it'll be interesting to see when we record this next month for March's episode what like what content I have faith in the A. I do. I don't know where it's coming from. Very misguided, probably.
I like your optimism.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm so optimistic. I don't know if it's because I'm recording or what, but I have a very good feeling that they're gonna release some crazy stuff. Like I told you that Ronaldo gives me hope. That flashback Ronaldo definitely gives me hope that I have a funny feeling that we're gonna see some insane players in the very near future.
I hope so.
Or they could just be like, yeah, remember that flashback Ronaldo thing? Yeah, we don't either. And then just that would be the last one.
I mean, they if they're going to make money from it, they will do it.
True. But I think that's probably a good point to wrap up. We've been going for about an hour. Any last any little shout outs you want to give before we wrap?
I just wanna thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, bro. Of course.
Just yeah, thanks for having me. I'll see you guys on Twitter.
His
And
all his socials, his Twitch and his Twitter are down there below mine. I'll have the actual link as well as the link to his Discord and the Patreon he was talking about. I'll have that down there as well. And yeah, have a good night, guys. Peace.